Art and I go back quite a few years. Actually, when I was about 19 and he was a tad older, we worked at the post office for the small cartons of mail that go through. So that's when we first met. So that goes back 55 years plus. So.
It's hard to really say when did I really meet Art. I think it's like a lot of people, you know, you see him all the time everywhere. He was around town, and he knew everybody in town, and everybody knew Art Verge. So I sort of got to the point. Yeah, I had to know Art Verge. But when I was on the Santa Monica College Advisory Board, he was involved with that naturally, and my kids had him at City College. Three of them went to City College, and of course that was the good grade. God, get Dr. Verge, you know, and you'll pass. He'll do you a break or whatever. But then he was doing these European tours, and I always thought it was a fraudulent deal. You know, he's traveling all over. He had claimed repeatedly that no, the students pay for the trip. The students pay for the trip. Well, as a matter of fact, he did one trip to France some 20 years ago, and my wife and I were in Paris, and we knew that they were going to be there, so we arranged to meet him, and we had dinner. And we had him over for cocktails in our hotel room, which I didn't think was great, but Art must have been staying in a cellar or something, because he couldn't get over the fact that, you know, we had a bed and chairs and all the rest of this.
I met him when I first came over to Santa Monica College. It was way back in 1950, and I met him about the second year. I think I was there before him, just a couple of years when he came. And we've been very close, and I think his family is just fantastic. They like his dad, and I've never found anybody in all the 42 years that I've known him that has spoken a harsh word about him. He's just an incredible guy. No matter where he goes, people just blossom into wanting to share whatever he's thinking about. It's amazing. He's done so much with kids. He has a wonderful, wonderful record with kids, and I think he's a great teacher. One of the nicest persons I've ever met.
The children have grown up together, and they met Art, and just became truly good friends. They're godparents to one of my children. And we've done a lot of things. Not really camping. One camping trip, one and only with them. They don't like that kind of thing.
Sounds like there's a story there.
Yeah, well.
That's a one and only camping trip.
Yeah, one and only. I don't think they like camp. Marge didn't like camping, so that was the end of that. But we've traveled a number of times on boat trips when Art used to do lectures and stuff, and so we started traveling with them and had great times over the years. We've just been the best of friends. And Art, anytime that we go to any of the affairs that the group has, he's always my dinner partner, has been for 51 years. And so, you know, they're dear people, and Art is just call them any time of the day and night, and they would be there for you. So we adore him. I do. I don't know my husband to say that, but I do. He's a nice man, very nice man. I'm privileged to know him.
Well, Shirley met Margie, and of course I met Arj, and that was 51 years ago. And we've been very close friends ever since. As Shirley said, the godfather to one of our children. They took us on our first cruise when Art was lecturing on the boat, and since that time we've been on 28 cruises, and we thank them for getting us started on that. We've been to many other cruises with them, and many trips. When Art would take students over to Europe for classes, we would go over during the Easter week, and then we would just roam all through Austria and Czechoslovakia and up the Danube and Budapest and places like that. it was just fun. And he used to have great parties here at his house with 200 or 300 people in the front room. And we started having Thanksgiving with the Verge family, and we've done that now for close, I guess, over 40 years, every Thanksgiving. Art's a dear friend. I admire him so much because he's so good at helping young people get an education, and all his travels around the world to recruit students to the college. You can talk to people anywhere, and they can relate stories about classes that they took with him at Santa Monica City College, and what a great teacher he was. And he really is. He's a fine person, has a wonderful family, and of course Marge is an absolute doll.
It was really like a soap opera, and I've been married to Art for a long, like 55 years, and our life turned out really, really well. Of course, I'm kind of spiritual, so sometimes I think when you have bad things, they're watching over you. But what happened was, I guess his dad was a very successful lawyer, and he took care of that Winnie Ruth Judd case where the lady chopped up some men. This is true. She was a nurse, and she went to Arizona. And anyway, it's a really good story. It's Winnie Ruth Judd's story. And somehow there was some friction, and so she chopped these people up and put the two corpses, the women, I think, in a trunk and sent them to Union Station, and then the blood was coming out. Well, anyway, so his father did cases like that, and I think he had the Tony Canero, who was a big, big gambler off the ocean and had the wrecks. And but anyway, so his father was very successful. And then what happened, very tragically, his sister Rosemary was killed on her 18th birthday on her way to a party. She was killed with a lifeguard. And so his poor mom kind of just, that really threw her off. And what happened was she died of cancer. So she had this awful cancer. And I guess Art said when he was a little kid, they'd have him sleep outside in the little house because she was in so much pain. And Art's sister, Polly, used to always say that was the bad luck house because somebody else committed suicide. So then after Polly died, and then Art's father sent him to a military school, St. John's Military Academy, and I guess he cried. And so his father let him come out, and they lived together and had a very happy life. And his sister Polly would still keep in contact, but she joined the Waves because it was during the war. But then his father died of cancer at a very young age of 52, and Art lived with some different really more with friends. And the nuns at St. Monica's were really, really nice, and they let him work for a while there. And then he joined the service. That was at 17, and his Uncle Gene signed the thing so he could join the Navy. Had a very easy life in the Navy. Well, I mean, if you're 17, it wasn't too easy, but at least it wasn't bad. He wasn't sent overseas. And then when he came out, thank God for the government in that case, because he got the GI Bill. And the nuns used to push everybody going to St. Mary's College, and he went to St. Mary's College. And then he was able, he went to law school. That was kind of an interesting story. Goes to law school, and he's at Bolt Law. He finally gets in. Then there was another miracle. He runs into his dad's old law partner on the streets of Santa Monica, and the old law partner said, come and stay with me a couple of days till you find a place to live. So Art goes and stays with Walter French and Florence French in a beautiful home on Alta Avenue, and he lived there for 8 years. And then was able to go to St. Mary's College on the GI Bill, was able to lifeguard, and then he goes to Bolt Law School. And the teacher gets up and he said, okay, if you don't enjoy reading law books, I want you to stand up now and leave. And Art raised his hand and said, I really don't like reading law books. And the professor said, I've given that speech for 25 years and nobody's ever done that. So, and I was engaged at Art at the time, and I was all excited I was going to marry a lawyer. This was great, I wasn't a very successful student, but I was going to have a lawyer for a husband, no problem. Everything was set. And he came home and he said, no, I came to my mom's house and said, no, I'm going to be a teacher. But anyway, we still got married, and teaching came out to be a wonderful, wonderful field. We've had a really, really good life, and I don't know how we got such nice kids. And it obviously wasn't Art, and it probably wasn't me. Maybe their genes are better, but anyway, that's the end of my story, and we've had a very happy life together.
You have great kids because of you.
Thank you. No. But anyway, thank you.